Not proud of it, man enough to say it. I was one of those guys back in 2020, 2024, shit, even 2016 before I could vote. I was all for Trump. I was all for Maga. I believed he was going to make America great again. I believed he was going to drain the swamp. I thought he was going to be different. He wasn't a career politician. And boy, was I wrong. My views didn't change. They still remain the same. I did fall for the deception, though, because I can't in good conscience support someone who's responsible for a pointless war where thousands of innocent lives are dying every single day. I can't support someone who mocked Christ on Easter. I sure as hell can't support someone who calls the people who want transparency on one of the most heinous and insidious acts in human history, the Epstein files, calls them liars and lunatics. He's probably a part of it himself. Can't support that. When it comes to politics, it's hard to even align myself with one of the parties because they're both being controlled by the same puppeteers at the top. So I was wrong. Not proud of it. Man enough to say it.
If you're a 3 times Trumper and you're one of the people who voted us into the mess that we're currently a part of, and you're now just starting to regret that decision, I don't think you get to come out and post that on the internet and try and recenter yourself in the conversation. It's your opportunity to sit the fuck back and listen to the people who have been anti-Trump since a fucking decade ago. But instead you come online and now you're trying to garner sympathy from people because you've been a moron. Sit back, amplify the voices of people who have been on that game since day one, and shut the fuck up.
All my Wall Street buddies voted for him, and now they're all regretting the fact that they voted for him. So, you know, it's just one of those things.
Are they all regretting that they voted for him? I mean, a lot of them are doing well out of the markets.
I think most people are regretting it. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm of the belief that prices are higher. We have an oil crisis going on right now. He imposed illegal tariffs, which raised the pricing umbrella for all the lower middle income people that voted for him. You're in a quagmire of a war. It's going to be very difficult to disengage the United States from that war. You've weakened our relationships with our European allies, our Gulf allies. He's put us in a very vulnerable state as a country and an economy. If you want to make the case that the banks have record profits in the short term, sure. But he's also suing some of the banking executives. You know, this is a very difficult time in the country where you are losing the predictive capability of our justice system, and you're losing the predictive capability of what our civil rights are and what our free speech rights are in the country. For those reasons, it's very, very bad for business. So yeah, I think a lot of people are regretting it.
I know that people are not gonna like listening to this, but honestly, stick around and listen to it because it's gonna be beneficial for everyone if we, at the very least, understand what's happening. We know that MAGA voters, supporters are leaving in droves, right? The entire movement is melting down. But I feel like we don't really hear too often, except for the super loud ones on social media, right? The exact reason behind these people coming to the realization that what they did was a mistake. But a recent group interview with a bunch of regretful Trump supporters from the New York Times, and this is not by any means giving the New York Times any praise or credit because they fucking suck. But I do think that looking at this can at least put us into the headspace of why these people did this, why they regret it, and how they currently think on things ranging from the economy to what we're doing over in Iran to the Epstein files, which again, you may not like hearing. I certainly did not like reading it. I was like, how can you be clear-headed on this, but then not on this? But my point still stands that at least knowing about it helps us gauge what's really going on. And then we can use that to our advantage in the midterms. And this one is a great first example of what I was just talking about, with these people being clear-headed on one thing Trump does and very clearly able to see how it's wrong, but then they still turn around and overall support him. This woman named Michelle, who was interviewed, says that she can recognize that what she did was foolish and that everything her friends on the other side of the aisle said would happen are happening. But then she loses the plot later on, saying, I really believe that if he had just done the things he said he was gonna do, he would have been a great president. Completely ignoring that he literally is doing what he said he was gonna do. Y'all just didn't want to see it and clearly still don't. Another woman who was interviewed named Pamela kind of expressed the same thing, saying she started noticing the other people around her who were mostly conservative kind of like side-eyeing each other and being like, wait, I think we made a big mistake. But at the same time, she's not personally embarrassed. She's just embarrassed for what the country is going through, seemingly not arriving at that point yet where she realizes she had a part in that. And then more on that theme of kind of like getting it through their heads, this guy, Jose, explains that he started to kind of see things were going not how he expected them to when Trump started doing the ICE deportations and separating families, even saying that his teenage daughter asked him, why did you vote for him, Dad? And that broke his heart every time. But in the same way that the other two did, he's still kind of scapegoating and not taking that personal accountability, saying, well, I didn't think he was gonna do this, so I regret what he's doing, but I didn't want him to do that. And then where Iran and Israel are concerned, I found these two answers really interesting because they both come from independent Latino men who, to my surprise, seem to be very, very clear-headed about what exactly is going on over there. With the top guy, Daniel, saying every single time there's peace talks, Israel just has to intervene and attack the country. The evil in the Middle East, in that whole area, is Israel. I think Israel's doing what they say was done to them. And the second guy on the bottom, Jose here, saying the evil in the Middle East is Israel. We shouldn't be in Iran. They don't have a nuclear weapon. And remember here, even though they're independent, these are Trump 2024 voters. And then with regards to Epstein, this person interviewed named Michelle said, it bothers the hell out of me. We're still cloaking and protecting people of power just because they're people of power. And then hearing from Miss Pamela again saying, it's just normal. It's like a boys club. They just cover up everything and they keep their friends out of it. And then y'all, this kind of gagged me. Though I voted for Obama, I don't see him doing that. I don't see Reagan doing that. Kind of alluding to this concept that we all know, right? Like, this is not politics as normal. Yeah, it's become extremely horrifically normalized, but it seems they're kind of starting to get that concept of Trump is not just a regular leader that people are over-exaggerating about. And again, y'all, I'm not saying this to say that we have to forgive these people or give them the benefit of the doubt or embrace them with open arms. No. I'm merely just saying that there is stuff in what they're saying that we can use to help ourselves. The walls are very much closing in. The rats are very much jumping ship, as I just laid out. And no, we don't have to necessarily offer them a spot on our lifeboat, but we can at least get in the water with a mic and be like, hey, why'd you jump? Let me know what you guys think. Did any of these answers surprise you? Let me know in the comments. And as those walls continue to close in, be sure to do all the things you can to push this out to get people more aware. Like, repost, share with a friend, comment those thoughts, and follow me for more like this, because there's gonna be more.
How are all of you doing who decided to vote for Donald Trump in this past election? I vividly remember the day after Donald Trump got elected, there were so many people on this app dancing around saying that they're no longer going to get drafted, that they are going to be able to afford the house, that they are going to be able to afford more things and have an easier life now that he has gotten elected. We are essentially a year and a half into his presidency. We are at war. We are seeing gas prices skyrocket. Things are not getting cheaper. Our grocery bills are especially not getting cheaper. So I'm just curious, to those that genuinely thought that their lives were going to be better when Donald Trump got elected, how do you feel right now? Have things gotten better for you? Have things gotten worse? Have you noticed a difference in your life, especially when it comes to spending? $5 a gallon. And like, why do I have to pay rent? And why is rent so high? And why do I have to drive my car and get the gas that I have to get to go to the job that I have to pay for rent? Why do I have to do all of that stuff? And why are you making it so fucking expensive to do it? I don't even want to get out and pump my gas. It feels like getting out and just knowing someone's gonna fucking stab you. Why would you get out? This is beginning. This is the beginning of life. What am I supposed to do forever? I have to get a fucking horse.
What do you think about the gas prices?
Fuck these gas prices. Shit.
Damn, and what the hell they doing on that too? And you too.
Gas prices being this high in Texas is actually insane.
But this isn't Indiana. I know I'm not seeing a 5 and a 3 together.
This is an epidemic. Bro, 479. 479?
That shit $4.99. What the fuck?
What the fuck you mean, guys? It's $8.79.
Who needs sex anymore when I'm getting fucked by these fucking gas prices?
You do not get free health care. You do not get free health care.
You comfortable with those significant cuts to Medicaid?
Look, I came from a family where it was a broken home that I was adopted by my grandparents. My grandparents were extremely dependent upon Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and when my grandfather had quadruple bypass, we were dependent upon disability to try and get by. We were that lower to middle class family. My grandfather was a welder, my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom and cosmetologist. I know the importance of Medicare, Medicaid. No, I do not want to see any impacts to that.
It's over. It passed. And this is what that means for so many Americans. Billions of dollars cut from Medicaid, which affects millions of Americans. The poorest of the poor people in this country are going to lose their health care, be unable to feed themselves, and this is what people wanted. And the richest people in this country will get a tax cut. So if you're not upset, then I'm confused. If this is what you want, I think you need to take a much deeper look at who you are and what you stand for, because this is devastating to so many people in this country. You are often one step away from needing assistance. One step.
Hey TikTok, I'm just on here wondering if anybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm from Illinois and I feel like the gas prices and the electric bills and the prices of food is just so overwhelming anymore. Like, I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling like they're drowning and they can't get out. I work overtime and I cannot get above water. I mean, I literally have no gas for next week. It was either that or get a few groceries to get by. I hit my local food pantries. I'm just wondering if anybody else feels like they're drowning. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day.
Food prices, grocery prices are the highest they have been in 4 years. Ladies and gentlemen, not only are we going back towards COVID pandemic food prices, we have gone back to COVID pandemic gas prices, inflation, and job loss. Inflation hit 3.8%, but wait, it gets worse. PPI inflation hit 6%. 6%. Energy prices are skyrocketing. Tomatoes, coffee, bell peppers, every single thing that you buy at the grocery store that you absolutely need is the highest it has been in 4 years. But wait, there is absolutely zero hope in sight for the end of the attack, the war on Iran. Zero. And those prices are going to keep going up. They even exceeded economists' expectation. Will we have hyperinflation like we did the last time gas hit these prices 4 years ago? It was almost 9%. Drop your comments below.
Some people in the Maga section and also Americans asking this question: Why is it America, they're able to afford a war, but when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to Medicaid, they're always looking for budget cuts. They're always looking for ways to cut down. So are they really taking care of America? Are they really looking at making America great again? Or they're really focusing on outside American interests? That's the question people are asking. So stay tuned. We're going to discuss much more, and kindly, I'd love to hear from you guys, and please subscribe.
The price for 1 pound of ground beef is now more than the federal minimum wage, guys. How crazy is this? And like, how far are they going to let these grocery prices get before they realize that regular people can just not afford this crap? Like, right now, let's do a comparison. Let's use like a couple big chains at where I live. I'm on the West Coast. So we've got like Albertsons, we've got Vons, we've got Stater Brothers, which I think is kind of like a West Coast thing. All of those are about twice the price of an Aldi, a Walmart, a Winco, a Safeco, or a Heb, or like a Food for Less if you have that. So I will tell you that of all the places that I'm shopping right now, Aldi happens to be my favorite. And no, they don't have everything. And Aldi is like the great value brand at Walmart. And that's all they have in the whole store is the Aldi brand. So there's not as much selection, but I like a lot of the stuff that they have there. So I did a price comparison out here. Stater Brothers, which is down the street from me, has amazing butcher department. The meat department is great. So I went and bought my weekly groceries there, $240. Next week, compared it, same level of groceries, $117 at Aldi. So it's completely insane. I think these big chains like Albertsons, Vons, Staters are going to have major financial problems in the future because you can't keep charging people double for what they can literally get across the street and have people keep paying it. Yes, in wealthy neighborhoods, people are going to pay that. Yeah, you're still going to have them do fine in those areas. But for the majority of Americans,
you know, Democrats, you're right. I mean, with all the shit going on in the news today, with the stock market and the financial war with China, you're right. I'm really starting to regret my vote for Donald Trump. I'm really starting to regret it. Nah, that's exactly what we voted for. That's right, DJT. Keep doing your thing. Keep giving them hell. You got a large population that supports you in everything that you're doing. And most real Americans think you're doing a hell of a job, too. And yeah, it'll be tough a little bit, but anything is better than what we suffered the last 4 years under Biden and Harris. Anything. I mean, compared to that administration, we're living a dream. And I don't give a damn what liberals say. I don't regret my vote. Not 1 minute, not 1 millisecond do I regret voting for Donald Trump. So go run tell that Charles Schumer, Jasmine Crocker shit, Maxine the Mummy Waters, AOC, and Burn.
Meet Jose Joe Ceballos, the former mayor of Coldwater, Kansas. And right now, Jose is facing a very tough situation as he has just turned himself into Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And the reason why he surrendered to immigration is because he pleaded guilty to misdemeanor election charges tied to voting as a non-citizen. Jose says, quote, "I'm obviously nervous. I don't know what's going to happen." His attorney then said, "What I was told by ICE officers is that he was arrested on an administrative warrant. They're essentially saying that he's removable from the United States for past conduct." Jose is a legal resident of the US, but not a citizen. And the thing is, he started his citizenship process in February of 2025, and DHS also said that Jose was convicted of battery in the past. After Jose was re-elected as mayor of Coldwater in November, Department of Homeland Security released his voter registration forms saying he illegally voted and committed a felony by claiming citizenship. It says he committed another felony by lying on naturalization paperwork and saying he had never claimed US citizenship. And here comes the funny and ironic part about this entire situation. Guess who Jose voted for in the 2024 election?
Do you regret voting for Trump?
I did.
He's asking, do you regret it?
Oh, no. Nope.
Why?
I don't think I need to answer that. I don't think I can answer that.
Now, even though Jose's vote is not legal, I'm not exactly sure why he's complaining about the entire situation that he's in, since he voted for the guy that ran on mass deportations. Because his thought process is totally giving me chickens for KFC, parents for the Hunger Games, and kids for Casey Anthony. But I'm just gonna play this song in honor of Jose's invalid vote.
A man who voted for Trump and donated $60,000 to his campaign now says he regrets it and he was lied to. Yes, this is Bruce Fenton, and he said, "I'm a Republican. I supported Trump. I raised money for him. I voted for him. I donated $60,000 to his campaign. Trump lied. He rug pulled us all. I didn't vote for Lindsey Graham / America Second policies." You can disagree with me if you want. It's your right to be fooled. But if you say I have TDS or am a liberal, you need a new argument. There are millions of conservatives and members of the now torched Broad Coalition just like me. The only ones left supporting him are Maga always Trumpers who place the man above the policies and our country. And he actually did include a photo confirming that he donated $60,000 to a Trump PAC. His name is up there and everything connected to him. There are some people out there I genuinely feel for when they get duped by a politician who said they were going to do one thing, they did the opposite. This guy is not one of them. I mean, he went out of his way to support Donald Trump. He's in the business sector. He donated 60 grand that could have gone to a charity or something like that. And now he feels lied to. He feels rug pulled. If he wants to right his wrong and apologize to everybody in the United States and around the world, quite frankly, he can donate 60 grand to the Democrats, 60 grand to charity, and then vote blue.
Here's the thing. If you're a 3 times Trumper and you're one of the people who voted us into the mess that we're currently a part of, and you're now just starting to regret that decision, I don't think you get to come out and post that on the internet and try and recenter yourself in the conversation. It's your opportunity to sit the fuck back and listen to the people who have been anti-Trump since a fucking decade ago. But instead you come online and now you're trying to garner sympathy from people because you've been a moron. Sit back, amplify the voices of people who have been on that game since day one, and shut the fuck up.
All right, betrayed, disappointed, apathetic, anxious, discouraged. That is how 5 Trump voters describe their feelings about the country right now. Trump voters. They were part of a New York Times focus group with a dozen Trump voters, 6 Republicans, 6 independents, all of them unhappy with the president's second term. In fact, 9 out of 12 of them say they regret their vote, complaining the president has not kept his promises, like no new wars, tax breaks, lower prices. Kitty, a 36-year-old independent mom from Pennsylvania, put it this way: we're starting to see we're getting disillusioned. All these false promises, we don't know it for what it is right now. Chris, a Republican electrician from Illinois, is worried the president isn't focused on people like him. Quote, the stock market, Wall Street, he's focused on the rich. Daniel, an independent from California who works in manufacturing, agreed. He said, I think he's protecting his rich buddies. It's pretty hard to tell a rich person what to do. They're going to do whatever they want. John, a 62-year-old Republican, said something similar, using the Trump renaming the Kennedy Center as his example. Quote, he kind of does what he wants, almost without any repercussions, whether we like it or not. There were also concerns about corruption. Here is Nancy, an independent from Arizona. She says everything he's doing, from the little things like tearing down part of the White House to putting up the ballroom, everything he does just feels very corrupt and self-serving. And despite mostly being out of the news cycle, we did hear about Epstein as well. Michelle, a Latina Republican, said, we're still cloaking and protecting people of power because they're not people, because they're people of power. Protecting the people in power because they're in power. So are they outliners, those Trump voters? The numbers do not suggest that. A recent Fox News poll shows voters now trust Democrats more than Republicans on the economy. The economy! That's the first time that's happened in 16 years. The Cook Political Report currently rates 217 House seats as leaning blue. It takes 218 to win the majority. Even the Senate is now in play. The Times, speaking to multiple GOP strategists, reports Trump's allies are exasperated by the president's lack of focus on the elections, even when he's holding events designed to highlight his highlights. For example, right after he gave a speech on his no tax on tips policy a couple of weeks ago, you remember this, when he went outside of the Oval Office to get a prearranged delivery of McDonald's from the, quote, DoorDash granny. Well, when he took questions from reporters during that event, instead of trying to keep the focus on his policy, he took questions and waxed poetic on a series of things, including the fight with the Pope. Another in a series of own goals, throwing momentum on the midterms to the Democrats. As longtime GOP strategist Mike Murphy puts it, the Democrats, not because of anything they've done, but because they're not Trump, have surged.
Every American that's having trouble with this, I am sorry I voted for him. I regret it with all my heart. I feel like I've enabled this monster to destroy democracy, destroy everything that is good in this country.
We've got a very crazy man driving the train, and he's going to kill this country.
And Anthony, are you voting a straight up and down Democratic ticket?
Not only there, I am actually for the very first time contributing across the board, across the country. And I've never, ever written a check or spent any money on anything political because I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
I've been a lifelong Republican since the day I turned 18. For the first time in my life, I'm going to vote a straight Democratic ticket. Is if they're connected to Donald Trump, they are not connected to me.
So you now are no longer a Republican.
I am not, no.
Because of Donald Trump?
Because of Donald Trump. It was no longer the party that I joined. It's morphed into something that's almost unrecognizable.
You were a lifelong Republican.
Right.
If somebody had told you, say 15 years ago, that you are preparing to vote a straight up and down Democratic ticket in the midterms, you would have said what to them?
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. So why are you now doing it?
To see Republicans not stand up to him, and the ones that do are just quitting.
I just think there's no values left anymore. There should be values. We have no values. He doesn't have any values. I thought he had values.
No, I'm definitely voting Democrat. I've been knocking on doors. I got a clipboard.
You're even canvassing.
I am canvassing for a Democrat
That's
in
how
Wyoming.
strongly you feel.
I believe hardly anything the president says, but I do believe he's a danger to this country and to our democracy.
Oops. It's almost like we weren't lying to you. But I'll say this, even though I will never forgive them for what they've done. And look, my forgiveness has no bearing on their life whatsoever. I'm glad to see that at least they are taking a proactive stance with this. Like, I fucked up. Now I need to put my boots on the ground and help make this better. And if you are any one of those people who is sorry for what you've done, if you're sitting back, staying quiet while democracy falls, just remember this. We know who you are. We'll remember what you did. And if the last thing that you did was vote for this man, that's how you'll be remembered. Now, if you go out and you start campaigning for real candidates who care about the people and you take proactive steps to make a change, that's how you'll be remembered. Owning up to doing bad shit is really hard. Trust me, I know. But you'll get a hell of a lot more respect than the respect you have now, which is zero.
Don't listen to the Democrats. I promise you, not a single Republican is regretting voting for Donald Trump. I've been seeing this weird rhetoric all over my For You page over the past couple of weeks because I think that a lot of you guys are starting to watch Candace Owens and her podcast recently. No, we don't. 100,000 fucking 52%. We do not regret voting for Donald Trump.
Au contraire, I've come across at least 50 videos in the past 20 minutes just looking briefly of people who regret voting for Trump and who regret MAGA. Candace Owens being the #1 culprit in this is hilarious to me, and this made my week, especially since tomorrow's Juneteenth. And I have to share it with you guys because they're now regretting it, and too little, too late.
I never thought that I would see a day where I would be rooting for a university above Donald J. Trump and his administration. But I don't recognize his administration right now. I don't recognize what's happening. How could Trump be such a free speech enthusiast and allowing these things to happen?
Stupid bitches get stitches. Y'all hoes better quit playing with me.
I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes!
Beyond betrayed. They used us.
We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises peace, not war.
Wow.
The pressure is getting worse.
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did.
Do you regret that vote?
Yes, I do.
If you could say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected that you would do what was right doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America's going to look like if this continues.
They took my wife. This man who wished not to be identified says his wife is from Venezuela and has lived in...
So I admit, I regret my vote for Donald Trump. I regret it because I needed these changes. I needed the prices to go down sooner so that I didn't drain out my bank account.
Not clicking. What's not clicking? What's not clicking?
I voted 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and guess what? Came home after being away, and I'm fucking pissed. I think a lot of us are pissed right now.
Cara Maria took to social media to voice her displeasure with the current administration and the state of the world after returning from filming season 42 of The Challenge. She says that she's angry because everything that Donald Trump promised has not been delivered. Gas prices are high, groceries are still expensive, there's been no resolution with the Epstein files, and another war has been started. She said she didn't vote for any of that, and instead we got the opposite. She went on to mention how people will continue to attack and harass her for the rest of her life for a vote that she made, but can at least admit when she was wrong, and thinks that it shows more bravery to do that. She's tired of people labeling her and trying to put her in groups that she's not a part of. She then went on to say how she's still waiting on an apology from people who told her to get the COVID shot, who now may be experiencing complications after taking it. She now hates everyone in politics, except for Candace Owens, saying she may not agree with her on everything, but she's very enjoyable. She finished by saying how she wishes there was no government, that it's all corrupt, and we need to just take care of ourselves. What are your thoughts on everything that she had to say?
Just listen to some of his biggest supporters, both then and now. Listen to what they have to say now.
I want to say, what is happening to the man that I supported, you supported?
And I will tell you right now, I do not recognize our president.
Look, I have not exactly found the correct words to communicate how I feel about President Donald Trump. I sort of ignore the topic of his existence altogether.
It just seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right?
You buried the Epstein files. There is no border wall. You didn't deliver on mass deportations. You cut corporate tax rates for the rich by cutting Medicaid again. No infrastructure bill, no middle class tax cuts. You gotta refund the tariffs, and now we're in a regime change war with Iran. That's the breaking point. I'm out.
It's funny because they keep saying they don't recognize this man. This is not the president. Who else recognizes him exactly how he is? Who else is not surprised that any of this shit is happening? Who else wasn't really down to vote in a convicted felon as president? Who else has believed all the women, over 100, throughout the years? What pisses me off about these people is they will support and back and defend until he turns on you. But it's okay if he turns on everybody else and says the most disgusting things to women and admits to doing things to women and is dangerous, not that smart. Maybe it's not a great idea to put the host of The Apprentice in charge of the free world. But eventually all of them start to backpedal, they start fighting each other. It's crumbling for you guys. But you all are the biggest reasons why this man is in office and all of this shit is happening. You defended and platformed and got all of your followers and listeners to vote MAGA. All of you.
Right-wing influencers are turning on Trump, even some who campaigned with him, because they don't like his latest actions or his words.
I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human?
You see, Trump has a MAGA problem, and the Iran war made it worse, including this Easter Sunday social media post demanding Iran open the effing Strait of Hormuz.
To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that.
And when Trump wrote "A whole civilization will die tonight," it prompted calls for the 25th Amendment to be invoked.
How do we 25th Amendment his ass?
Tackle Trump and pretend, let him pretend he's president and publicly report that he's going through a health issue and Vance take over. It literally needs to be something like that. It's that bad. bad.
Removal is unlikely, but this could be a problem for Trump and Republicans ahead of the midterm elections this fall. Trump was reelected because he built a coalition of right-wing figures, conspiracy theorists, and agitators. Some in that movement are already angry about the lack of transparency around the Epstein files and the high cost of living. A war, when Trump promised no new wars, adds to that frustration. If they're disenfranchised, they may not show up to vote, which could make it harder for Republicans to retain control of Congress.
He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for.
Yeah.
I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that.
It's insane. There's two things that are insane. One is the targeting of migrant workers, not cartel members, not gang members, not drug dealers, just construction workers showing up in construction sites and raiding them, gardeners.
Donald Trump, listen, man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one.
She said something about that there was like thousands of hours of tapes of people doing horrible crimes.
There is. And didn't the FBI dude say that there was nothing?
Kash Patel said there's nothing you're looking for. Oh, okay. Or just bomb Iran. And everybody forgets
Just bomb Iran, yeah.
Everybody forgets about it.
The only party right now that to me seems America first is the Democrat Socialist Party.
Yep.
Bernie is America first.
So how are we, the people that voted for Donald Trump, supposed to continue to support him when his name has been mentioned 5,000 times in these files that have been dropped?
We're going to play this video in full. But first, we have to fact check her in real time. Check this out. It wasn't 5,000 times that his name was mentioned. It was 38,000 times across the files, including mentions of Trump, Melania Trump, Mar-a-Lago, and related terms. It's mind-blowing. Did you really have to see the files to know? All the pictures with him and Jeff. All the pictures with him, Jeff, Ghislaine Maxwell, Melania. All those pictures with them together. The videos with them together. That wasn't enough. I guess I'm going to have to do it. I told you so. We told you so. Before I show my audience your video, I want you to know something. You were used. Not only by him, by Maga. You were used. Let me show you how I know. This is how I know. They never cared about the children. This is what they cared about. And I'm going to read this to you. From App Patriot Girl. I don't know about you, but I voted for retribution and revenge. I voted for Trump to crush the left so badly that they are afraid to show their faces in the light of day. I voted for swift, vicious justice and no mercy. It's a good thing that I'm not God, because hell would be a lot more crowded right now. It was never about the children. No, not about the children. We knew that. We knew that. It was always about revenge. Swift, vicious revenge. They don't care what they do as long as they own the libs. It's a sickness. And you were used by them. Your intentions were pure. Your intentions was to save the children. All the stuff they put in your head about the Dems and what they did to the children, or what they said they did, was bullshit. It's always been on the other side, on the side that you voted for. Now, knowing this, let's watch your video.
So how are we, the people that voted for Donald Trump, supposed to continue to support him when his name has been mentioned 5,000 times in these files that have been dropped? Honestly, I'm a little bit shocked at how people from my party, I'm a conservative, I have conservative values, voted for Trump, etc. how are we making excuses for Trump? I'm truly baffled because he wasn't convicted. I mean, how do you get your name mentioned that many times? I think it's time that we hold these people accountable that are doing these disgusting things to children. Irregardless of who you voted for, what you support, we can call something bad that is bad and still be conservative, you know? Just because we criticize a particular person or people, that does not mean that we're like some leftist liberal. You know, they're calling the Epstein files a Democratic hoax. How is this a hoax?
Now I know my smart followers and smart subscribers, their ears squealed when you said irregardless. It's just regardless. You could fix it. You could fix it by voting blue in November, in the midterms. You could fix your vote. You could save the children by just voting blue in November. I used to be conservative just like you too. I used to be fed the bullshit just like you. Until one day I said, they're lying to us. And then I changed. I went from conservative Republican to independent. And now I am a registered Democrat. All the bullshit that you've heard about the left is a lie. The Republican Party used reverse psychology on you. They used it on you to vote for them. So everything that you actually hate right now is actually the right. Stop being a momo. Open your ears, open your eyes, and do the right thing. Vote blue in November. Tell me what you guys think about this in the comments. And if you haven't thrown me a follow yet, please do. Have a day!
All right, so you've heard the views of the people. People are literally frustrated. They are feeling betrayed, and they're saying this is not American great again, because right now people cannot afford healthcare. You go to the hospital and you're being told some of the services you have to use your own money to pay for it. Why? Because of the big beautiful bill that was passed the other day, and they had budget cuts on the healthcare. So majority of Americans say healthcare is very expensive at the moment. So the perception that the US can afford war but not healthcare is a frequent critique, highlighting the contrast between the vast discretionary spending allocated to the military and the gaps in the domestic social safety net. The reality is America budget, they usually give the biggest amount to the military as compared to the budget where they're looking for the social interest of the American people. So regarding the budget cuts to Medicaid, the reason for this division are deeply tied to political ideology. First of all, many Maga voters and conservative politicians argue that the welfare system is bloated, inefficient, and susceptible to fraud. They generally favor reducing the scope of the federal government in domestic programs, prioritizing policies that encourage able-bodied adults to return to the workforce. Also, some voters support budget cuts because they believe reducing entitlement spending is necessary to curb the rising national debt, stimulating the economy, and lower inflation. Despite the general support for fiscal conservative, these cuts still cause internal tension within the movement. Many rural communities and working class families who make up a large portion of the Maga base rely heavily on Medicaid. As a result, massive cuts to the rural hospital and state Medicaid programs are often met with strong resistance from local representatives even in conservative strongholds. And currently, the rural base in America, they're feeling it because some hospitals have already been shut down because of the Medicaid budget cut. Yes, those hospitals in the rural home, they no longer have a budget to run. So what happens to that hospital? Shutting down. So people are forced to travel miles and miles across to be able to access hospitals in other towns. So what's next? So affording a war, is it better for healthcare? No. The critique that the US prioritizing war funding over domestic healthcare often stem from the contrast in how these expenditures are legislated and funded. For example, defense and military spending are part of the discretionary budget, meaning Congress debates and approves this large sum every year as a top priority for national security. while programs like Medicaid and Medicare are mandatory spending governed by specific eligibility laws. These programs are financially strained by factors like aging population and high medical administrative costs, making them frequent target for budget reform. So critics argue that the US already spends more on healthcare per person than any other developed nation, yet leaves millions uninsured or underinsured. The frustration stems from the belief that if the government can readily allocate hundreds of billions to defense or international conflict, it should have the capacity to guarantee baseline healthcare insurance for its own citizens. Do you agree? But one thing is for sure. American citizens, they're saying they need to have access to the hospital. They need to have access to the doctors. They need to have access to the pharmacies. And one thing is stopping the majority is the expense, because they say it's very expensive. Do you agree? That's the reason why they are looking at Medicaid. And now, since Medicaid has gotten a lot of budget cuts, some people are forced to literally to pay from their own pocket. Others decide to ignore the pain in their body because they cannot afford to pay that expensive bill in order to go to the hospital. They really cannot, because some people are telling you they're depending on their job to survive. They are living paycheck to paycheck. So if they're given a medical bill that they're supposed to pay thousands and thousands of dollars from their own pocket, they literally go bankrupt or they become homeless. So what do? They ignore the sickness. Do you agree? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you guys, and kindly subscribe to my channel. Thank you.